Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle video tutorial on Affinity Photo and the field blur filter with shapes, as well as designs created using like the pen tool, etc. So what I've got here is a field blur. Now this is a live one. I'm just going to go back to show you the standard sort of filter one as well. But what you got is you can blur these designs, but change the position. And you can create a variety of different designs using this approach. So let's just remove that. So let's just go all the way back. Get rid of all these and start with something like a donut design. So let's just go for a donut. Now I've got a gradient there. A gradient probably works better than just black or white or solid colour. I mean, it still works, but I just like it. I think it shows it more clearly just using a gradient. So what you can do, you can go to filters and then you can go down to blur and field blur. It's a bit confusing slightly. I've just looked at, obviously you've got depth of field as well. But this one is the field blur, and what you got is this pin. This is the default pin. Now what you can change, you got the global radius. This is for the whole thing. So the global radius, so it blurs the whole thing. So you can straight away, you can move around. Doesn't make a difference. There's only one. You need 2 or 3 or 4 of these handles. So what you can do, you can click on the document. That's why I boosted it up fairly high, because what you can do, click there. And now I've got a second one. Now the selected one, that's selected. You can see it's 2 rings. So it's selected and you can move that around. Well, what you can do, you can reduce the handle power down. So in that area, it becomes quite sharp. It looks like back as it was. And you can move it around. So you can create some interesting sort of design just simply by highlighting. So, and of course you can add another one as well. And you can do the same. So parts of the image, you can move that around, you can move that around. You can move that around, and you can see you can create some very weird distortions simply by doing that. Now I don't want to go over the edge, so I'm just going to go about like there. And you can see with these pins, you can just select there, and you can just vary the selected handle level. Just reduce it down. If you want it sharper, that is the key thing. If you want to go to there, you have that to the max. We don't have to have it to the max, of course. You can vary it, but you can just change that. And this one as well, you can see that one selected, and you can reduce or increase that. It's a bit counterintuitive. You reduce the power like that, it sort of goes, it's slightly odd. But anyway, the general gist of it, that's just select that and then work with, this is the key thing. This you can just vary. So the more power, that seems to reduce it down. I'm just gonna go with about there. I like that, just because I want a nice sort of reasonably sharp there, blurry there. Because what you can do now is, of course, you can always use repeat field blur. You can apply it again, but also you can go to layer and fade as well. So if you want to get a sort of like a dreamy look on it, you can vary that. You can go through blending modes, lighten, difference, and so on. So you can create a variety of different designs. Now I don't want to do that. What I want to do is this. So I want to resize it a bit, and I'm going to hold down the Alt Option key. And you can see you can get some very weird and wonderful designs simply by doing that. And of course you can still squeeze the design, change it, and of course you can always go to filters and repeat field blur as well. So you can blur that, and you can see it now. Of course it's virtually just become very faint. You don't want that, of course you don't have to have that. And again, repeat field blur, maybe. So it's still, you can see that sharp. And again, hold down the Alt Option key, and you can duplicate, and you can create a variety of different designs. What you can also do, there's a live feature as well. So I'm just going to quickly go with this one, and just going to go with there. And you can go to, now with that selected, you can see there the layer there. You can go to a layer, new live filter layer, blur, and this is field blur there. And again, unfortunately, starts with that default position. So I'm just going to increase the radius. And again, select another handle there, and then just reduce the power down. And you can vary that. So boost that up, move that around. And it's all live. This one is live. So you can always come, so you can also do the blending modes here. Just run through it. Just quickly run through. And you can add more than that. So if you want one up there, again, reduce that down, and you can vary it out to this area. So you just go further out from the shape, and you can see it just go closer, sharper, but you can pull it out a bit. So it's slightly blurry, it's just on that sort of edge of blurriness. And now, of course, the thing is, you've got fill blur here. You can always, of course, go to layer and you can duplicate. So you can duplicate the fill blur, have it twice. I don't want that, but I'm just sort of trying to show you can have that. And also you can always vary it and you can go back to it. So select the fill blur, double click, and you can bring up the pins again and modify it a bit more. But with this design now, what you can do, you can duplicate this design as well as the actual filter. So you've got this design here, and you can see you've got these multiple ones, and they're all independent. So I can go and change this one, make it slightly different. But also, not only that, you've got here normal, I can go run through there, overlay, difference, and so on and so on. So you can, and the thing is, it's still live. So if you want to, you can always modify this design. So you've got here, you've got various options up here. And this is, of course, the same with all of these shapes. This is still a live shape, which you can select the donut. Hasn't changed, no. This is the key thing. You can always look in here, layers, and you can see if it says the word bracket donut or bracket circle, whatever, ellipse, then you know it's still a live feature. And you can change these. So you can change the, and as you do that, you can see the effect changes there. And of course, you can always vary that again, overlay, that's still live, and you can move that around and duplicate that design. Hold down the Alt Option key, and so on and so on. There's a variety of different designs that all can be created that way. And it's still, again, all still live. Total angle, you can change that, make it sort of like an arc. So you've got an arc design there, which again is still live. You can still modify the fill blur, you can still modify the actual design there. Also, what you can do, of course, is that you can, if you want, you can convert it to curves. So you can always go to a layer, convert to curves, just down the bottom there. And now it's converted to curves, but it's still a vector design. So it's still a vector design, it's not a pixel layer. You can see it says curve there, not pixel. So you can still do that. But the thing is, once you've done that, you can use your various tools. And now I'm just going to have to look for it. Node tool. You can actually modify the nodes. And again, it's still all live. So this effect is still there. So, and of course, you can always add other ones as well. You've got deform and other filters. You can always go to, well, unfortunately you can't. You can apply filters to that. That will obviously not be very much use. It will just turn it into a pixel layer. But you can also add layer and new layer filter and other ones. Unfortunately, my favourite one, which is deform, has never been added into here. I would love to see deform added into the live filter layer. I do not know why that's not available, as well as mirror. That would be so brilliant. But you can add points here, you can tweak things, so you can see you can create all kinds of designs, and you can always change the blending modes still. It's still live. Okay, let's just, before I go any further, what you can also do, of course, is you can add your own shapes. So if you want to, quickly go down here, pen tool. So you've got pen tool, let's just add pen design. And now, with that, what I want is a fill. I'm just going to have a solid colour at this point, but I can add a gradient. So let's go to swatches, just quickly add there. And I could, of course, change other things with it, but let's just go with that. So you've got your design there. So you can create any number of designs with the pen tool. And once you've got that, of course, what you can do, you can always go to a layer, new layer filter layer, blur, and fill blur. And again, you've got this. It always puts it in the centre of the image. Doesn't matter. I wish it would put it at the centre of the object you've got selected. That would make more sense. But anyway, mere quibble on that. I would put it so it should be there, because that's where you want it, not over there. And you can change the global radius, and that is only applied to that. None of the other ones are touched, because that's just being applied to that design. Now you can hardly see it. Or you can add another pin, of course, again. And with that other pin, you can actually reduce the power down. Obviously, this handle level, I should say. You can change that as well. And as you change that, you can see that very. And also, you of course, can move it around. As you can move, I'm just going to push it up to the limit. But I can move it around, and you can see the result of just changing that power. Now, the thing is, you reduce that, and then you can see it just there. So you can create some very weird and wonderful designs like that. And again, you can put that up if you want, or just keep it sharp, and you can keep it outside. Don't have to have it inside. You could have it and vary that. So you can see a lot of different designs, and once you're of course happy with that, you can always close that. And you can still go back to it live. It's still a live thing. You've got fill blur there, and you've got the design. And of course, again, exactly the same as before. You can always hold down the Alter Option key, and you can duplicate that design and then use blending modes if you want, overlay to actually go over top like that, or lighten to combine them in different ways, or rotate them and do that and change that. And it's still a vector design, which can be, however, of course, if you want to at the end, you've got that selected. You turn around and think, you know what, I would like to be using the deform, which I like. You can always go to distort, deform, and of course then it will turn around and say it's turned into a pixel layer. You can see its pixel layer there, just over there in layers, and then you can distort that. And you can see the design there can be warped and distorted to your heart's content. New similarity, and so on and so on. You can actually, with a single object, you can just sort of fill the entire design with create some very truly weird and wonderful distortions. I love playing around with this because you can see I can spend hours doing that. Anyway, click apply. And again, you can always, of course, you've got that design, you can always hold down the Alter Option key, but of course you're going to get that sort of cut-off point there, which is not particularly ideal. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always add new tutorials about Photoshop, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Affinity Publisher, Illustrator, and many other applications. Also, if you've got any questions, comments, anything that I've done wrong, done right, please let me know in the comments, always appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the Graphic Extra channel. I have videos virtually every day. Also, please check out the Graphic Extras website, so graphicextras.com. Always lots and lots of tutorials on that, always adding, and also quite often I add a lot of additional detail about all these various effects, suddenly things that I think about after I've done the video. I think, you know what, I should have put this in or that in. I will put that in my first tutorials on my site. Also, a dislike or like, always appreciated either way. Thank you much.